It's 2 in the morning. You're 3 energy drinks deep, staring down a glowing monitor, trying to force your way through a massive wall of work through sheer persistence. We routinely treat the human mind as a piece of isolated software. We assume that as long as we have enough motivation, we can command our brains to execute complex tasks perfectly, regardless of the physical conditions. That assumption leads directly to the burnout cycle. You sit down with intense desire and plenty of time, yet you end up staring blankly at the screen, failing to grasp basic concepts or retrieve information you studied hours earlier. The brain is a cognitive architecture, a physical network of biological channels defining information processing speed. Like a high-end server, this machine has strict limits. When bodily states degrade or surroundings turn hostile, hardware throttles power. Data hits physical bottlenecks. Hitting a mental wall while studying or working is a symptom of mechanical failure. The system lacks the structural support to maintain high-level processing. To address that mechanical failure, we start with the internal biological inputs governing brain metabolism. Heavy cognitive loads require enormous amounts of fuel. The cardiovascular system acts as the primary supply chain, pumping a continuous stream of oxygen and glucose deep into the brain's dense capillary networks to power active neurons. That supply chain is highly sensitive to systemic inflammation, a widespread immune response often triggered by poor diet, chronic stress, or illness. When inflammation takes hold, it creates physical roadblocks, slowing the speed at which electrical signals travel between neurons. Sleep serves as the biological maintenance phase required to clear out this cellular debris. It flushes the inflammatory compounds from the network, restoring the physical pathways. When these physical pathways are clear, neurons fire rapidly and accurately. This translates into the real-world outputs of high processing speed and reliable memory retention. A brain starved of oxygen or clogged with inflammatory markers will misfire. Raw intelligence cannot compensate for a system that is fundamentally lacking the fuel required for heavy lifting. Beyond the skull, the immediate physical room you sit in provides a continuous, inescapable stream of sensory inputs directly to your neural hardware. A flickering fluorescent light or the low hum of street traffic requires the brain to expend active computing power. It dedicates background processing resources to filtering out those environmental stressors, leaving less energy for the work in front of you. The air quality in your workspace carries an even heavier toll. In a standard closed-door office or bedroom, carbon dioxide builds up rapidly as you breathe over the course of a few hours. As CO2 levels rise in parts per million, decision-making scores decline while error rates climb. The higher the concentration of CO2, the more the hardware struggles to perform complex reasoning. The cumulative effect of noise, poor lighting, and stale air generates cognitive fatigue. This is a depletion of the brain's physical energy reserves caused by managing hostile external inputs. An optimized environment preserves energy, allowing for sustained performance. Over long durations, a well-supported system can maintain an output that far exceeds a more gifted intellect struggling against a hostile environment. Internal cardiovascular health and external room ventilation form the integrated scaffolding that supports human intelligence. Peak performance is an emergent property of a well-maintained system. When the structural blocks of health and environment are secured, focus happens naturally. Approaching massive cognitive loads, like a professional certification exam or a dense creative project, requires a strict mechanical protocol. Productivity becomes a question of system optimization rather than a test of willpower. Securing the biological foundation with sleep and cardiovascular output, and curating the workspace to control lighting and air quality provides the necessary platform for the brain to perform. High-level intelligence requires engineering a better biological and physical environment. Maximize the hardware, and the mind will follow.